Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday Funday. It's the beginning of spooky season ish. Sorry, last weekend probably would have been a good start for Halloween and scary movies. Of course, this week, unfortunately, you just get to deal with me and not the gorgeous Megan, just because unfortunately we did not have time to both watch the movie that I am here to review, and that, of course, is Hubie Halloween.
Not cool.
I don't know why they called it Hubie. I guess because it makes a fun joke to call it Hubie or anything like that. Oh, so have to talk about this because it is fairly new. It just came out this past weekend, and some people are clamoring for a sequel. Guys. No, just don't. No. All right. So long and short of this film, to describe it in a nutshell, take Medea Halloween. Put Adam Sandler in the lead role instead. And mush that shit together until you got something terrible. The long and short of this film is it's just that idea. It is a parody of sorts on different horror films throughout the ages. There's like Halloween parodies, there's parodies of Christine, I believe, at one point. There's a few different little horror films that they kind of like wink and nod at, which I don't think that you can't or you can not do a Halloween or a scary movie parody of anything. Take, for instance, Scary Movie and Scary Movie 2. Sorry, if you hear something, my cat is having a ball with a paper bag right now. But not only do I think you can do that, I think you can do it quite well. That being said, this doesn't do it well. First off, the film suffers from the biggest issue that many people have is take with Adam Sandler films. He likes to reference a lot of his older movies. Like, constantly there's references to, like, the O'Doyles from frickin' Billy Madison, because his kids who bully him are the O'Doyles. There is the love interest from Happy Gilmore's in this. I think she has the same name, Vanessa. I swear that was her name in Happy Gilmore. I might be wrong. She's back in this again. She just plays Hubie's love interest in a way, in something that doesn't really make sense or work real well. And not only that, but you have to have all of Adam Sandler's friends. Rob fucking Schneider pops back up because Rob Schneider's not going to be a carrot. Then you also have Kevin James is here as a minor bit character. Thankfully, there is a little bit less of Adam Sandler's best friends, but there's still some of the Adam Sandler consistent players, like Shaq is in this again. Yeah. And honestly, not only in the fact that this is pretty much ripping off Medea Halloween. Not that I liked Medea Halloween, but it is the same basic fucking principle. There's it tries to attempt to act like it's making little jokes like, oh, this one guy might be a werewolf. His name is Christopher Lambert. And or Walter Lambert or something like that. And I was like, oh, and I was thinking like, oh, Christopher Lambert, like the Highlander guy. I'm like, wait, that joke doesn't make sense. I'm like, oh, I think it's supposed to be a Wolfman joke. But it never lands any of the punches with it. Like, none of it makes any sense. Like, it's just this, it turns out, oh, it's just a guy, he's crazy and thinks he's a Wolfman. Okay. And it turns out that Rob Schneider's this guy who just is crazy and just likes to go around and do stuff. And he is, like, suppose, like, Kevin James was whining after him or something. I don't know. that's another issue that this has with, like, Medea Halloween. There's a bunch of different random kind of plot threads that kind of eventually come together. Because ultimately, like, by the end of it all, the big joke or the big idea is just that Hubie's mother has been kidnapping all these different people through, like, super strength and speed, I guess. Like, she's able to do it, like, in a split second. And somehow they don't notice this frail older lady doing this. Why? What the fuck is happening here? Why is this happening? Why is any of this happening? Why are people having issues being overcome by a 60-year-old woman? She's not built like a freaking American gladiator. She's just a regular old granny. What the absolute fuck is happening right now? And also, if you absolutely loathe the Adam Sandler voice that he loves to do whenever he wants to be funny, oh, this movie's gonna grate real quick. His Hubie voice is just all the time. It's hearing him doing it. And all this entire movie boils down to is everybody doesn't like Hubie because he's a bit of a dork. Movie. And it's just people picking on him and him being a fucking dork the entire time. And not a funny dork, not a particularly, like, endearing dork. I mean, he's a nice enough dude, but it's like, okay, there's a difference between, you know, people being assholes just for the sake of being assholes, which they are being assholes by wanting to bully him. But then there's another thing, it's like, there's not a lot that makes him super endearing. One, he can be grating. He can be annoying. Two, it's like, okay, so if any of these people have problems, all they just straight up say, it's like, hey, Hubie, here's a problem. You're kind of dorky. You're kind of lame. You know, you're just kind of a goober in the best of sense. It's like, that's kind of the issue people have with you. And it says, and people, he's the Antichrist. It's like, God, it reminds me so much of people in politics in so many regards, which seems strange. Like, literally, it's just people who cannot stand it. You like this candidate? He is the Antichrist. My candidate's Jesus. The fuck? It's just this insanity here that none of this seems to exist in anywhere near a normal universe. And on top of that, it's just ultimately just really, really lame. Like, long and short of it, beyond just the fact that the characters are rather annoying, they say a lot of stupid stuff, that the writing is juvenile at best. The characters are super, super lame. Like, there's nothing to them. They are just the bare bones of any characters. Like, the only thing interesting, the only thing that you know about Hubie is he's kind of a dork, but he's slightly endearing. What do you know about Vanessa? She likes Hubie, and she adopts kids a lot. Oh, and also, I think Selena Gomez is in this movie. I might have been wrong. And trust me, her acting is not improved. I would just have to look. Because, dear God, I can't remember. This one girl, I swear, she looked exactly like her. No, man. It was not Selena Gomez. It was just a lady who looked very much like her. Sorry. Magic jump cut. Sorry. I don't know if you saw. I was about to sneeze there. But there is just all these people who are just, one, the acting's bad. Like, it's all like this, like, we're gonna be over the toppy whoopie dop. It's Billy Madison turned to 11. And that's the problem, is every character is aggravating. You don't like Hubie because he is rather annoying. You don't like any of the bullies because they are just straight up assholes. And they're rather annoying. You don't like the love interest because she's kind of boring. I can't keep going on. I don't know how any other, synonyms I can keep using for the word boring, lame, and pedestrian. and bland. Just this is a big soup of blech. It's the best way to describe this film is it's nothing burger with a side of nothing. And it was probably made by a guy who was 5 foot nothing. And somebody probably called him. What they want? Nothing. What the fuck is this movie? Why does this fucking exist? Did Adam Sandler watch Tyler Perry embarrass himself and like, I could do that too? The goddamn shit did I watch? Like, honestly, that's the worst part about this. It'd be one thing if it was just a parody of horror films. Or more importantly, if Hubie was like super like enthused or really liked, supernatural films or anything like that. We know it's a big person, because like one of the things like, oh, well, my ancestor, tried to, support the people who were being called witches and said they were called a witch in Salem and they were killed. It'd be one thing if like that was like the idea of the story. Like pretty much it's a Fog ripoff in a way, but it's a Fog goofy film. Pardon me. Let's say that all the different ancestors of all the people who were unfairly killed in Salem witch trials, they, were coming back for vengeance against all these different people. And this film decided to kind of homage all these different films, but do it silly. That would be something. Like if the fact this Wolfman guy was actually just a genuinely nice dude. Or it could have been like if it was a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. But instead, it's a nothing burger of a joke that doesn't go anywhere. Instead, all it does is it wastes so much runtime in this entire movie by not having a punchline. Like, I hate to be the person to critique anybody's comedy, because my own comedy can quite honestly be really not great, to put it in the nicest sense. But holy shit, is this movie like so anti-funny that it doesn't turn around and back around to be funny. It turns around to actually kind of be sad. It makes you almost want to look back at other Adam Sandler movies and wonder, did he ever have it? Did he ever understand how to make a funny? This sure as shit makes me think he doesn't. It's like there's so many different ideas they could have actually went with the movie. Like I said, the idea of have somebody who is obsessed with the supernatural, who's trying to say, oh, well, there's something supernatural going on, but nobody wants to believe him. Sure, that has been played out. Nobody wants to believe him anyway, though, here, because they all want to be assholes to him. That doesn't make it any better. That still is the same plot line, just changing around a few different ways on how you get to the final fucking product. I don't know how filmmakers can be so monumentally stupid that they can't conceive for the fact that they are ripping off a tried and true thing to try and make their own thing and said, it's the exact same fucking thing you have seen before. There's nothing new in this entire movie. And that is the worst part about it all. Pardon me. Like, it would be one thing if Hubie Lewis, the character, was... I don't think his name's actually Hubie Lewis. I'm just going to keep calling him that because it sounds funny. It would be one thing if the character was unique to even an Adam Sandler film. But he's not. It's the same Adam Sandler sticky character he's been in every movie where Adam Sandler's the underdog. He's just we're talking pretty much. That's all Adam Sandler is. He just... It sounds like he's talking to a baby the entire time. And on top of that, there's nothing to his fucking character. And all the bullies are the exact same fucking thing. They're all the bullies from the Billy Madison movies. They're just these assholes for the sake of being assholes. There's not a single thing you can watch in this that you haven't seen 428,000 other times in millions of better movies. I don't know what people were watching. They're like, we need to see a sequel to this because this is such an interesting fucking universe. It's not. It's not funny. It's not particularly enjoyable in any sense of the imagination. It doesn't build upon anything. And in fact, it feels like a fucking just hellacious shit. Like, this movie is an hour and 40 minutes long, and it feels every second of its length. Like, I am surprised that in a year that brought us Tenant and Gretel and Hansel, two movies that feel every second of their length, even though one is only supposed to be an hour and a half long, the other one is 2.5. I am still surprised that we are being given movies that just feel so incredibly slow, so poorly paced, and ultimately just insanely juvenile. Like, the only people I think that could really, really enjoy this movie are maybe kids. And even then, there's a number of jokes in here that just don't really hit well with kids. Because there's a number of, like, little sex jokes. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but if you were trying to make a kids movie, cut out the sex jokes. Because some of these are a little, not just too raunchy for kids, but they're just not going to make sense to kids. It's like, do something that, if you want to make this a kids movie, you can still keep some of the harsher language because there's barely any swearing. Not saying that a fucking a shit and a goddamn motherfucker or cock-sucking son of a bitch makes anything better, but holy shit does it make this movie feel a lot less like a 2-year-old wrote it if there's actually a modicum of swearing in it. I mean, you don't have to go to Good Boys levels of where they honestly sound like dumb kids trying to say a bunch of swears. Or fucking, oh, what the hell's that movie I forgot with Marky Mark? Oh, I can't even remember the damn movie. I just remember it was terrible where every other word was fuck. And he's like, this feels like a 3-year-old wrote, or like a 12-year-old wrote this. He's like, I'm edgy, yeah. Look, I wrote fuck. Yeah, you sure did there, Junior. But this is just such a bad movie. Like, I am honestly floored at how terrible this movie was. Like, when I saw trailers, I'm like, okay, this doesn't look good. Trust me. But to be fair, the wrong Missy didn't look particularly great. I thought there was a little chuckle I got here or there with the trailers, but not a ton. And I was actually genuinely surprised. It was actually quite an endearing movie. I actually quite enjoyed it. And only that, but hey, look, it also had a lot of adult humor. A lot of good adult humor, I would say, at times. Even if technically Missy did rape David Spade a number of times. And also sexually assault him, but, it is what it is, I guess. Especially since people seem to be okay with, guys getting, sexually taken advantage of. But, wow. I cannot say enough terrible things about this film. There's not a single redeeming factor for this entire movie. Like, this is going to be up there. That's the problem I'm even looking at. Like, as bad as this year has been in terms of films, there's just been a lot of shit coming out. Like, I cannot tell y'all how disappointed I was in the fact that, oh, New Mutants suck sweet and Tenet. Oh, cool, they're both fucking atrocious. And this movie's not helping. I guess I need to eventually give this thing a goddamn score. Though, you get the one, Adam. Merry fucking Christmas. You know what? That kind of reminds me of 8 Crazy Nights in certain regards to this film in comparison. I don't think 8 Crazy Nights is actually a really good movie. In fact, it's kind of a piece of shit, to put it lightly. But in the fact that it does have quite a bit of an edge to the film, that's something that this movie seems to really lack. That if it had it, I don't think it would have been necessarily good, but it wouldn't have felt so fucking pedestrian. Like, in comparison to many of the other movies I've watched, hell, many of the different shows I've watched, like, even comparing it to fucking Power Rangers, this felt juvenile. This felt so weak. Like Adam Sandler just like, ooh, I'm gonna do it. I don't want. Meh. Oh, and I would be remiss if I don't at least admit that the director of this course does a number of Adam Sandler movies, and not many of them are very good either, mind you. Steve Brill, I think is his name. Yeah, Steve Brill. Those who want to know about Steve Brill is a fucking terrible fucking actor and a terrible fucking director too. And that's the other thing. Like, this is such a basic fucking flick. Like, if you're gonna make something so aggressively unfunny, you know, at least make it look like you spent more than $12 on this. Like, this is a cheap ass looking flick. There's zero humor to really be had throughout it. It's overtly long. Like, it does feel like a chunk of this movie could just be cut and it wouldn't lose anything. And honestly, just don't watch this. Don't let Netflix think that we need more of this. I'm not trying to say, oh, we need to make Adam Sandler poor or anything, but God, I really wish we would quit getting the shittier of the Adam Sandler movies. I just wish Adam Sandler would step aside, look at all the different negative feedback he's getting on all these movies, and see if there's actually some validity behind it. Or if he thinks there is some kind of comedy, like, hey, put out a YouTube video counter arguing us. I'm more than willing to hear that. It's like, all right, Adam, tell me what's funny about this. How am I missing this joke? Tell me what about the joke is so funny that I am just too smart for it, too stupid for it. Who knows what? I might be a complete moron. I know I probably am. Tell me what's up. Because otherwise, yeah, it's kind of a terrible fucking flick. Ugh. Oh, it's a way to start off October in a fashion. Though, I do have a few other movies in mind for Megan and me to watch soon. Just depends on how rest of this month plays out. I will warn you that this next weekend should be fine. The weekend of the 24th might be a little here or there. We will see what we get to do. Just to let you know, because Megan and me are getting married then. We're going to make it official. So you will see something else. So sorry, fellas, I'm taken. But we'll get back to you more about that next weekend whenever we watch whatever the hell we're going to watch. So until then, we'll see you all there. So bye-bye, everybody.